Welcome, everyone, to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living.
Good morning, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
You know, that is the one thing that we all have in common. We have a mother. Everybody has a mother. There's no way around it. So thankful to all the mothers. And we have one more bit of really good news. Reverend Karen Rice is back.
Woo-woo.
Yes. Give it on up. She's already told me a little bit about the message, and she is ready. So I just need to change my number right here real quick.
You ready? Okay.
Now I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So we'd like to start the service with a song called "This Is the Day." If you'd please rise and join with us to bring up the spirit. And when Karen walks in, give her
Give her some love.
Give her some yeehaw out there, would you? You ready?
Yep. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing that with me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, a day to be seized, a day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Can feel spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
All right, good morning. Welcome to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Clyde Goins. I'm the assistant minister here. I want to welcome you here on this Mother's Day, and I want to personally thank every mother for Mother's Day, and I just love all mothers, and I just think mothers are wonderful. So, and I miss my mom. She's not around anymore, but I know she's with me, and this is one of those days that I really wish I could share it with her. But I get to share it with all you other mothers, so it just makes me just as happy. So welcome. All right, so our announcements today, we just have a couple of announcements. One is, first I have to tell you this really quick little side story. I was trying to feel like a martyr. John's not able to come in. He's spending time with his wife, which is a mother, right? And so, but he came in and got the place set up, and so today is supposed to be dining with the dudes, and I was going to tell you it's going to be dining with the dude. But somebody in the back of the room showed up, and now there's dudes. So, anyways, we'll still make it work. But anyways, we have snacks and everything after service. So please join us for fellowship. We also are starting the foundations class today. So remember, it's a once a month class that we're going to be doing, and today's the first day that we're going to be doing it. So we're going to have a quick snack to come back in here, and we'll start around 11:30, and we'll have the class, and it's about 2 hours long, and it's going to be once a month for the next 4 months. next 4 months. So please join us with that. And then again, it's just a reminder that the last Friday or Sunday of the month is going to be our singing bowls. So you can join us with singing bowls with Kay Fontanas, which will be beautiful. And then we have one more class for our meditation series. It's next weekend, and that's going to be on guided meditation. So those are all of our announcements. So after service, if you'd like to pray with Kay Fontana, just come right up here up front, and we have call to prayer right after service. Or you can go in the back and fill out a prayer request card and drop it in the box, and your prayer requests go out to all the practitioners and the ministers excuse me, throughout for the next week. All right, I think that is all of our announcements. So let's say our mission statement together. We are serving life by living and sharing transformational tools to help create a better world for all. And so it is. All right, so just sit back, open up your hearts and mind for the Baptist beautiful music and Reverend Karen's wonderful message. Thank you.
So just take a deep breath and relax as we move within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
Be still and know that God is right here, right now. That infinite presence, that divine spirit that expresses as love, joy, peace, beauty, abundance, prosperity, and so much more. That God that exists in our hearts and minds and souls, from the inner core of this planet to the outer limits of the universe, and everything in between is God. And what I know of God, I know of myself, and each one of us here in this room and those watching online, that we are the divine expressions of that beautiful, perfect God. And on this day, I speak a word of blessing for all of those here watching online, those in service today, and for the Bradfords, knowing that their beautiful music permeates our hearts and souls with that divine harmony that they so eloquently express each Sunday. And for all the mothers that are here and watching online, that this is their special day, and we so honor all the mothers in the world. And for Reverend Karen, knowing that her message is absolutely divinely perfect, and that she receives those messages from God that flow through her. As she presents her talk today, that each one of us receives that special message that we can carry forth on our days and share with others in our lives. And for all other faith traditions, knowing that there are many paths to that one God. And I'm so grateful for this day, so grateful for all the beautiful beings here and for this service today. And I let my words go out into the universe, into the law, knowing that it is already done, and it is so, and so it is. And happy Mother's Day. My reading today is from The Art of Being Wrong and Not Dying of Shame. And this is by Orlando Lawrence. And it's on a section called The Pressure to Be Right. From early on, society wires us to believe that being right equals being valuable. In school, the kid with the right answer got the gold star. In church, the person with the right lifestyle got the praise. In the army, the soldier who followed orders without hesitation was rewarded. In relationships, the partner who knew what they were doing was seen as dependable. There's no space for ambiguity, no room for confusion. Being unsure was treated like failure. So we learned to bluff, to posture, to argue with intensity instead of curiosity. We cling to our opinions like they're oxygen masks. But here's the contradiction. The more certain we pretend to be, the less we grow. Because growth doesn't happen in certainty, it happens in the questions. So let those words just flow over you. And so it is.
Happy Mother's Day. Baby mine, don't you cry. Baby mine, dry your eyes. Rest your head close to my heart, never to part, baby of mine. Little one, when you play, pay no heed what they say. Let your eyes sparkle and shine, never a tear, baby of mine. If they knew all about you, they'd end up loving you too. All those same people who scold what they'd give just for the right to hold you. From your head down to your toes, you're not much, goodness knows, but you're so precious to me, sweet as can be, baby of mine.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That was very tender. Hank, who is your baby, isn't he? Isn't Bo older? Hank is here today. Thank you for coming on Mother's Day. You've been here many years on Mother's Day, and I know Bo would be here if he could too. That was very tender. Thank you. Somebody Google on your phone what year Disney made that movie, Dumbo. I'd like to know that. To know how long have those images. They're so familiar to those of us who grew up with a lot of Disney stuff. 1941. Okay, that was 10 years before I was even born. How lovely. Oh my goodness. So good morning and welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm the verklempt Reverend Karen Rice. I'm happy to be back here and it is Mother's Day. And so I guess I would just begin with a true confession. When I marked the title for the talk today, I thought Mother's Day was next week. Right? Because I do this once a year. I create my talk titles once a year. And so last October, when I was plugging in dates, I looked at, there's 5 Sundays. I assumed it was next week and not today. And so the talk for today is not as appropriate. It actually turned out to be really appropriate because I'm clever. But the title of my message is The Art of Being Wrong. And I think that's kind of funny because what we know about mothers, I have a mother, I had a mother. I still hold her dear in my heart. I was a mother. I am a mother. I'm a grandmother. And what I know is mothers are always right. It's not negotiable. We are just always right. It has to be that way. It's kind of how we keep you alive until you're old enough to make your own mistakes, and we're all doing the best we can. But at any rate, I'm going to be talking about wrongology this morning. And it's a term I took from the book that Kay quoted from. The book is The Art of... is that the title of the book? Oh, really?
Mine was by
different. Oh, I thought it was a different quote. You were quoting from, yeah. Okay, so the book that I'm speaking, well, I'm not speaking from the book, but I do have some good quotes, and I'll tell you where it's Catherine Schultz, and I think it might be called The Art of Being Wrong. And I got the idea because in the month of, what is this month? May. We've been looking at doubt, and at CSL throws out these themes, but they also give us some really good book titles, and this was one of the books that they suggested ministers read this year in order to prepare for some of the conversations. So anyhow, I'm talking about The Art of Being Wrong, and that is my true confession that yes, I was wrong. I made a mistake, and I think that's a really appropriate way, and it really went nicely with your reading, Kay. I did assume it was the same book. But we're going to remember through all of this that we're not really picking on moms, that moms are always right. Father may know best, but moms are always right. We can agree with that. Because, that's what we teach. Isn't that what we teach? Whatever you believe, you're right. You're always going to align to that truth because that's how it works. Wrongology. all the people that study human behavior and are giving us all this lovely information that we have easy access to right now, they all tell us the same thing. Mistakes and errors in life are absolutely normal, that none of us are perfect. You've probably heard somewhere in life, there was only one perfect human, it was Jesus, and look what they did to him. But even he did things that don't look so perfect in the name of making good decisions and having a ministry and teaching people and bringing new ideas to the planet. So we know that it's absolutely normal to make mistakes. What's really rare is that we admit we've made mistakes. And that is kind of universal. It's not even kind of, it just is really universal. We're really good in an uncanny way of noticing everybody else's mistakes. But we don't very often notice our own mistakes. And I think that's because our egos just couldn't bear it, right? In fact, we now know, the brain studies confirm that your brain is designed to validate to you that your beliefs are the true beliefs, which is why we have so much conflict in life, because we all see life from different perspectives. But there's really a name for it. It's such a truism that we can't admit our mistakes easily. They call it error blindness. We are blind to our own errors. And in fact, when you make a mistake and you know you made a mistake and you're really not ready to admit that you made a mistake, we have all these defense mechanisms that come up and try and save us. And we have ways that we'll rationalize, and we have ways that we will, if all else fails, we'll just blame somebody else for it. So I didn't do it, she made me do it. Sort of like listening to children arguing. But here's something interesting I learned from this book. This is a fun fact that makes so much sense to me. I really cling to it. When I first read it, I went, oh yeah, I've got to say this out loud. If you make this statement, if you were capable of saying, I am wrong, it is actually an incorrect statement. There's no truth. We are not capable of saying, it is not a logical, well-written statement. You can never be wrong. You can say, I was wrong. Because there's something that happens once we begin to admit that maybe we're not as sure about something as we thought we were, then that creates a space for some new information that we would otherwise miss. So the moment we are able to say, I was wrong, the moment we recognize an error, you're no longer wrong. And there's something that is absolutely liberating in that process of not needing to be right. We begin to see things from a different perspective. And I think that the important message I'm leaning into this morning is that when we begin to see and accept the flaws that we all have, we're given this opportunity to practice self-forgiveness. If we can accept that, we're not perfect all the time, then we can resolve some of the things that we carry around that really push on us to try and measure up to a certain standard. In the perfect alignment to the reading you shared, Kay, that was perfect. So to recognize any belief that you're holding, to recognize that it might not be a true belief, is the way we stop believing in things that used to sort of support our sense of well-being, and we can step into greater and greater possibilities. But it doesn't matter. We still don't like being wrong. We don't like being wrong, do we? We don't like tripping on this sidewalk because we didn't see an irregular part to this side. We get embarrassed and we try and cover it up, or we point and blame, or we make fun of it, we laugh, or we do things we can to avoid it and pretend that it didn't happen. All of those things are perfectly normal. There's a principle called, perhaps you've heard of it, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle of error. It is named after the man that put this theory into action. His name was Werner Heisenberg, and he is not only a German physicist that did all kinds of things, but he is one of the pioneers of quantum mechanics. And you know, when I talk about quantum mechanics, I always get a little bit excited because quantum mechanics is the side of science where science and spirituality start to blend together. And Werner Heisenberg was a very interesting, for a scientist, a physicist who loved everything about science. He was also a very religious man. He was a Lutheran man, German Lutheran, very stringent, and he had this great relationship with God. So he wasn't like your average scientist who tends to lean into atheism. But Heisenberg said that it's sort of this, I stumbled on this and I just have to say it out loud because it's so fun for me. He said, when the scientist takes his first gulp or his first sip of the physical sciences, that you turn immediately into an atheist. But if you keep sipping out of that glass, by the time you get to the last part of it, the last sip in that glass, you will find that God has been waiting there all the time for you to discover the presence. Isn't that lovely? From a scientist, I love that he was so brazen in the way that he worded it. So according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle of error, we know that we can be wrong, or we can know that we're wrong, but you can't do both at the same time. Right? The moment you begin to admit maybe you're not quite as accurate in what you thought you were doing, that's the beginning of something brand new. Now, in terms of wrongness, Heisenberg said, an expert is someone who knows some of the worst mistakes that could be made in his field, and he knows how to avoid them. So this is really good information, and I think that we really know there's a lot of truth to it. So the author that wrote the book that I'm quoting from, it's Being Wrong is the title of the book that I bought because the CSL as an organization recommended ministers read this book, and I don't read them all, but every now and then I don't avoid that list because I stumble on really good books. And this is a book by Catherine Schultz. If you want a mini version, she did a TED Talk. So just go to TED. If you like TEDs, they're short. She'll get to the point. It's probably pretty entertaining, and her name is Catherine Schultz. But in that book, in the chapter entitled Wrongology, which isn't that a good word? I love good words. This is her statement. She said, of all the things that we are wrong about, the idea of error might be well at the top of the list. We are wrong about what it means to be wrong. And being wrong is not an intellectual inferiority. The capacity to err is crucial to human reasoning. The capacity to make a mistake is vital to our humanity, our sense of humanness, and the way we learn to relate to each other in the world. So I don't think we can downplay the importance of this. Maybe even I have a little sense of urgency over it, because it suggests to me we don't learn from rightness. And we really have been struggling to we really think we're so right about everything right now. It's so interesting. I think it's why it's so loud in the world and conflicting and confusing. Our best lessons come to us from when we were wrong. So wrongology, properly understood, is good for you. The researchers say it helps us be more humane. It helps us be more empathetic. It helps us increase our ability to have compassion for each other, and it humbles us. And what I know and recognize about my own journey is that when I am humbled, and there are two ways I am humbled. One is sometimes something divine, some connection with God just takes my breath away, and I'm in awe, and I feel humbled. I get the how magnificent life is and what a small role I play in it. But another way that I'm humbled is when I'm wrong, when I've made a mistake, and when I have regret that I made a mistake. It's very humbling. And what that humility feels to me like is it's some kind of a surrender. And what I know is that it makes me softer. It smooths out my rough, harsh edges, and I got some harsh edges. Some of you have seen that, right? And so I love that idea that being wrong in that humbling way, if we are open to it, if we can quit trying to defend what went wrong or excuse it or explain it, when I let my edges soften, there's some kind of an intimacy we begin to develop with fallibility. We begin to realize we were never supposed to try and be so perfect. And then in that way, I can relax a little bit, and I don't have to keep trying so hard to keep everybody else happy and all the things, or look a certain way or behave a certain way or say the perfect things on Sunday. I do say some really perfect things on Sunday morning, and then there's all the other stuff I say too, right? But nonetheless, though, we learn from those errors. So everybody is wrong sometimes, except for your mom. Remember that. We're defending moms today, except for moms. So it's sort of strange to imagine how natural imperfection is and making mistakes is, and yet how necessary. And I think it's helpful just to remember that error can lead to progress. Carl Jung said, error is just as important as truth. Think about that. Take that one home. Think about that. Error is just as important as truth. James Joyce, the author, said, errors are portals of discovery. Ooh, I like that one. When you make a mistake, you have an opportunity to step through a doorway and discover something that maybe you haven't ever discovered yet. And I know that we know all of this is true in one way or another because we've made mistakes that we will never make again. When I was a very young woman, I was 17, I had my very first job. I was a waitress. And I worked the dinner and the closing shift. And the last thing you did on the closing, one of the last things you did on that closing shift was you took all the white towels that you've been wiping tables down all day with, and you soak them in a little bowl of soapy water with some bleach in it. But I didn't know anything about bleach. I was 17. I didn't do laundry yet. And I poured way too much bleach in. And the next day when I came to work, they were waiting for me, and they said, hey, come here, we want to show you something. You put these towels here in this bowl, and somebody put their hands in it and picked up one of the towels, and it was just shredded. It had holes in it. I guess I had definitely put way too much bleach in that bowl, but I didn't know that. But I never did it again, correct? Right? I noticed that we had breakfast at Reverend Clyde's house one day. He does a Gourmet for God that involves breakfast. And I had never seen bacon cooked in the oven. What a genius idea. Bacon is always spitting at you and hurting your little hands when you're trying to what a great idea. Throw it in the oven. Cook your bacon in the oven. One time when I was, I think I was a mom, I don't remember, but I ran to the grocery store just to pick up a few items, and I needed dog food, and it was a good-sized can of dog food, and I had 2 or 3 of them, and I put them just on the top of the cart because I only had a few things, and it fell through that little leg hole, one of those cans of dog food, and landed on a foot. And so what I want to tell you is canned goods belong in the bed of the cart. And I have never put a can of anything or anything too heavy in those carts where anything might slip off. So we learn, we do things, we make choices. So often they work, majority of the time they work, but we don't have to hide from our mistakes. I mean, after all, aren't there great products out there that were invented on accident? Can you think of anything you know that was discovered on accident? I have a list in case you don't. So race car Gary in the back said, it's that plastic guard on your grocery cart to keep things from falling out. Brilliant. Thank you for that. I'm still not putting any cans in my in that top part. Good. Anybody? One more. Let's see if we can get one more. One more, something invented on accident. Yes, thank you. Velcro is like Velcro is such a good one, and I'm not going to tell you the story because I think it's really worth looking up. Just ask Diane before you leave today. It's such a great story how the man who created the way we can use Velcro now, how he figured it all out. It's a great idea. Super glue and Post-it notes. Penicillin. Penicillin was a total accident. And so these are things that I have talked about in years past, but I found one that I had never heard of before that I could share with you, and hopefully it'll be new to you too, because I think it's fun when it's new. Potato chips. Oh, you know the story about potato chips? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you anyhow. I see a whole bunch of people nodding. Like, oh, yeah, we know about potato chips. I did not know this. So there's a cook, a chef, a short order chef, and I picture it like a little breakfast cafe, you know? And they called him Chef George Crumb, C-R-U-M. And he was making breakfast, and there was this one customer that every single day would have breakfast there. He would order 2 eggs, over easy, with fried potatoes and toast and a cup of coffee, probably for 79 cents, because that's what we charged at Bojack's when I was 17. And every day that man would send back his potatoes. He would say, the potatoes are soggy. And they'd go back to the kitchen and he'd have to crisp up the potatoes. And so one day he thinks he's going to play a funny joke on the customer, because now they have a friendship, I'm sure. And he slices, the chef slices potatoes paper thin as he can get them. And then he puts them in hot oil and he just kind of burns them till they're absolutely crisp. And he oversalts them, thinking it's going to be a funny gag. And the guy loved the potatoes cooked that way, and voila, we now have salty snacks in our cupboards and our lives. I think that was it is, and it is. It's why some of us don't buy them, because if they're in the house, they will be eaten. Oh, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is such a great spiritual pioneer in teaching us about practical spirituality. Ernest Holmes had a lot to say about mistakes. And typically he would talk about it when he was speaking or writing. He would talk about how your mistake can lead you to healthier thinking. If we pay attention and we practice the presence and become observers in our own lives, as we begin to notice those things, we can look at what we used to be thinking about so that we can practice more constructive thinking, and then consequently live in a higher state of well-being by applying what we're learning. And he emphasized, like we say course correction, or you get a do-over. You do something, it doesn't have a good end result, you get a do-over. And that is an important part of what we teach. Your mistakes are not punishment, though they are consequences. We live in, there's no sin, there's only the consequence of your choices, they tell us sometimes. But Holmes said things like, anything that thought has done, thought can undo. He said, the universe does not hold your mistakes against you. See, it's a little easier to hear it if you don't call it God. If you don't say God does not hold then it's easy to argue. But if you say the universe does not hold your mistakes against you, now I can sort of feel that. Holmes said, the one who succeeds is the one who does not dwell on past mistakes. The ones who succeed are the ones who forgive the past, and therefore, can you feel where we're going here? Therefore, you can forgive other people. The ones who are most successful are the ones who accept, I made a mistake. They move on quickly. They forgive the past. And in that way, we are expanding our ability to forgive each other. Gosh, the world sucks right now. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about it. I am not going to talk about it. You all know. But sometimes we get overwhelmed, like, well, what can I do? And there are things, and you are doing them, and I'm proud of all of you. I'm even proud of those of you who know it's not yours to do. You know, we all have different ways we show up. But here's what I'm putting out to you today. This is my invitation to you of what you can take from this message to add to your spiritual practice this week. What if we just start working on accepting ourselves the way we are under that beautiful umbrella of knowing that this is how we forgive ourselves? And the more that I can forgive myself, the more likely I am to be able to forgive other people. I think that it's like the chicken and the egg. It's hard to know, do you love yourself first or do you love other people? It seems like we cannot separate the two, that they are one in this one life, in this one mind, in the mind of God, in the way that we are invited, even on Mother's Day, to look at ideas such as these. I think that, and I didn't think this until, this was kind of an afterthought that I wrote down after I drove here, but I believe that Mother's Day is such a perfect time for us to look at the idea of forgiveness. I had an Eastern European mother. She was very much like a Jewish mother, but they always denied whether or not, nobody ever said we had any Jewish connection because, you know, being Russian in that time was enough. And so, you know, my grandmother never spoke English, and my mother brought in some of those traits that remind me of all those funny jokes about the Jewish mother. She loves too much, but she uses guilt to tell you how disappointed she is when you mess up. And she feeds you, and she often feeds you more than you need or not the right things to eat, and she criticizes you. And so, you know, there are ways that we come out of being reared in a family, whether or not you had a mother that raised you. I love, was it Rod that said that well, yeah, but somebody gave birth to you. It's obvious you're here. But I think what a beautiful time, if you got some mother issues, what a beautiful time to accept that, you know, she was probably doing the best she could, and or whoever raised you in that role. Some of you had fathers or some of you had grandparents, but being a parent, and I can say this with all honesty because, you know, I did 4 of them. Whew. There will be mistakes made. There will be mistakes made. And the interesting thing is we can't seem to sit down and talk about all of this. If I were to sit with my kids, believe me, I've tried. Apparently, I'm not good at not saying anything. You know, and I said, but really, my memories are that you had a great childhood, and then they start telling you what their memories are, and so you can't seem to come to an agreement. And the thing is that we don't listen. You know, we jump so quickly to defending our side of the story. But the reality is a much bigger thing than all of that. Mistakes will be making. It's 24/7 for a lot of years, decades, without any reprieve. You get to do it again and again and again. And then, of course, my children are all doing it now, too. So they kind of get it, whether or not it will be reciprocal and they will ever appreciate that, you know, all of that, I don't know. But I do think there's things we could be accountable for. I'm not sure I could, but you might be able to. And in that way, it reminds me of that sweet thing I heard Brene Brown say one time. We have to quit being so sorry about all the things that we weren't ever designed to be sorry for. And Brene Brown says that we should save the words, "I'm sorry," for the times when you have erred. Wouldn't it be lovely if we could learn to? I know, I'm right there with you. I'm always like, something happens and then you say to somebody, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But that's not sorry. Right? We have to be careful that we find a way to convey the compassion. And I think the words are okay, it's as long as there's feeling in them, because what we're really doing is communicating at an energetic level. So as long as you have love in it when you're saying those words, that's fine. But I love the suggestion that we save the word sorry for when we have erred. And that's when we really should speak it. Take it, quick defense. You don't say, I'm sorry, but let me tell you what my side of the story is. That's not sorry. Right? That might be a time where we really are sorry they have interpreted it that way, but you can't say that. And so what a lovely time to look at some new ideas. Now, I will be teaching after this. We'll see how that goes. How does she do that after this? But there's some brand new foundational material that has been released, and I have never taught it before. So all the principles are the same. Nothing changes in the teaching, but the curriculum is short. It's only 6 weeks long, and so I'm going to do it in 4 weeks, and I'll give, for those of you who will be staying for that, I'll give you all the details about it. If you want to just sit in today to see if it's something you're interested in doing, you're welcome to do that, but you have to stay for the whole time because it would be disruptive otherwise. And in that material, I have bumped into a brand new term, and I want to ask if you have heard of this. It's called Januszian thinking. Let me see, show of hands. Anybody else in the room has heard of it? Because I had never heard of it before I did this research and jumped into this material. So Januszian thinking is something that's a little trendy right now, or it's trending. I guess it's not trendy. It's trending now. It's particularly popular in the schools of psychology, spirituality. It's going to be a big help to us in spirituality and in leadership. It's showing up in leadership. And you can see that all the emphasis on DEI and stuff, the diversity. Well, we've been teaching diversity since Hector was a pup. This is a part of religious science, right? We have always welcomed gay people and people of color. And, we have always done our part to, we had commitment services, ceremonies for couples long before gay marriage was ever even on the radar of being a possibility. And so I know, praise God, right? It's like, how cool is that? And so Januszian thinking is something that is being looked at. It's not new. It was developed at first or named in the 1970s. And it's named after the Roman god of deity of antiquity, Janus, Janus. Janus, by the way, is where, not like Janus, but Janus is where we get the month of January, named after that deity. And this deity is so ancient it predates Greek mythology even. But Janus is the god of sort of, the dualistic, the god of two directions. So they place it in January because it's about looking back and looking forward. And but Janus was more than that. It was about not just the past and the future. It was about life and death. It was about war and peace. It was about all those things that we look at in pairs of opposites. And the deity Janus was where you stand in the paradox of it, where you see this great contradiction that these two things do not belong together, and yet here they are. And the thing about spirituality, no matter what faith you are, it has that way we are always learning to balance the paradox of the spirit world and the world of form, the physical world of form. When we practice, you'll see this terms like paradox show up a lot in Buddhism, for instance, where there's this great emphasis on finding the balance between the two. We're looking for ways to notice that there's this thought and this thought really opposes this thought. They cannot come together in any conversation. Don't we know that now? But that you find a way to rest or balance in the middle place between the two. It doesn't mean you have to change your opinion. It just means that you find a way to allow that tension to be a sacred tension within you, and to know that this universe is created in this idea of harmony, that there is a way for us to find harmony in our own spirits so that we can stand, and when we get knocked around a little, and we will, then we know that we can return to center again within a reasonable amount of time. So it's not to say there's a perfect place, you're going to find it, and you're going to live happily ever after. We know we're adults. We know that to be true. Even your child is an adult now, with a full beard and hair and all of that. Yes. And so this Januszian thinking is a gorgeous way of looking for deepening our lessons and our understanding of standing in the ambiguous moments, in looking at that. Spirituality is full of nuances, being able to find our way to stand in the middle of that, and to just know that these are universal teachings. It's no accident that Jesus said multiple times, or it is recorded in the gospel that it has been said, "Judge not by appearances." It is no coincidence that Ernest Holmes spoke so often about being open at the top. Being open, be curious, right? Don't just get locked into your own beliefs. And when you do feel like you have to stand for a cause, then stand for your cause by all means. But see if you can experiment to do it without feeling so much discord in your own being. Find your own center of balance. This could be extremely valuable to us. And it's even much more ancient than anything written in the Bible, because it goes back to Taoism and that beautiful yin-yang symbol of the black and the white, and the idea of movement, where we talk about the masculine and the feminine, and we talk about day and night and all the things that come in pairs of opposites. There is a place. There is a place. When I'm humbled because I've admitted I'm wrong and I soften, there is that place where I feel more comfortable, where I don't have the edginess that I had before. And I realize then those gorgeous words from the Sufi poet Rumi. You know what I'm going to say. Many of you know where I'm going here. Rumi said, there is somewhere between the idea of right thinking and wrong thinking. Somewhere between the ideas of right thinking and wrong thinking, there is a field. Meet me there. Yeah, I know. It's not that easy. I know it's not. But if we can start accepting ourselves where we're at, we can start softening some of those harsh edges. And that's the work that we can be doing right now. In God, as I said earlier, it's easier to think of the universe. In the universe, there's no right or wrong. A storm comes, she heals. In God, there is no right or wrong. But in God, there's exquisite potential that is always emerging. Things lie in that waiting period of just not being born yet. So, yes, in God, there's no right or wrong. What we know is in religion, there often is a lot of right or wrong. In order to align to a specific faith, especially that one, I don't hear this as much as I used to, but that one line we have the only true religion. Do you? You do. If you can honor your own theology, if you can honor the truths that make up your own personal spiritual philosophies and help you to live it more compatibly with other living beings. So there's paradox in life. There's day and night. There's hot and cold. There are many ways to cook bacon. We inhale and we exhale. One time in a college class, a college psychology class, the teacher said, okay, everybody just take a breath. Take a nice deep inhale. Concentrate on what it feels like. And now take a slow, relaxed exhale. Concentrate on what that feels like. And we did that for like 5 minutes. He just kept repeating the exercise, and then he got done and he went, which do you prefer best, the inhale or the exhale? And he let us argue. We duked it out in that class for a long time, and it was a college class. We had some pretty intelligent answers and responses. And when we got exasperated, he stood up and he shouted as loud as he could, "It doesn't matter." Isn't that a great lesson? It's another lesson that I will never forget. And by the way, I had a side. I had an opinion that I was fighting for mightily. So there is an art to being wrong and to be able to figure out how to be wrong with a little gracefulness. The next time you notice that maybe you were wrong, you don't have to like it. You don't even have to tell anybody. But you can let it soften you up a little bit. Because the minute you realize you might be wrong, you're not wrong anymore. In this new awareness, the humility and the softness and the tenderness that comes when we're able to change our posture ever so slightly, we can realize together that when we're softer, we can love each other a little bit better. And I would leave you with these final words. A beautiful fact, I believe. It is in that soft place that we find the only place where we can change our minds. That's what I wanted to say today. So take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. Think about how much you enjoy it. And then exhale and decide if you like the inhale or the exhale better. And know and remember that it really is that breath of life in which we become aware of the activity of spirit within us. So as we just allow all the thoughts and the laughter and the delicious contemplation on discovering new words and definitions, we just let that all fall around us so that we can stand in that Januszian posture and recognize the presence of God in all of it. I feel the love of God within me. I witness the mother's love as Kathy sings this beautiful song, a love song to her child. And we remember again that there is something sweet about that image of what the mother's love is. So whether we have had that experience or we missed that experience, it doesn't matter at all. For right now, in this precious moment, there is that essence of God, the presence and the power of Spirit itself that is loving us. And so we soften. We feel the truth of the presence of God that is ever present, that is never missing, that is never limited or made small in any way. And in this fresh new awareness, we just allow the Holy Spirit to fill us, to purify our minds and our souls. We allow our consciousness to open to greater and greater dimensions so that whatever it is in life that is trying to emerge through us finds its way, so that we can live anew, that we can find our own center of gravity. We can find the balance in a topsy-turvy daily life, that we can be fed by Spirit, that we can notice the song of the bird, that we can see the beauty even in the stones, and we can see the power and the way the oceans make waves and continue to produce energy, forever and ever, movement of life. And so I recognize that it is this truth, this ability for us to be observers in our own living, where we can call forward the love of God from within us, that we can be gentle with ourselves as we notice when we err or make little decisions that we wished we'd made differently, that we can allow that holy newness to wash over us, to cleanse us in such a way that we are uplifted, that we are inspired, that we are strengthened to do what is ours to do, and that we have the wisdom to trust those things that are not ours to do. And so in this newfound clarity, I know and I declare that there is a healing that is unfolding right now. Even as these powerful words of prayer are spoken, there are elements of our physical being that inside our bodies there is a response, a divine response that is accepting this idea of our well-being, accepting the idea of health in our finances, accepting the ways in which our relationships are healed, accepting that we are given today a new way to love ourselves and to forgive ourselves. And so I affirm that this is the week where we come together to practice accepting that truth. It is okay to make mistakes. It is the way that we are redefining our lives. We are stepping through the portals into new adventures, into new discoveries. And so I am grateful, for I know that it benefits this spiritual community, it benefits us individually, and it benefits the world at large. So I accept this. And I know in the mind of God, mighty work is unfolding even now, a power greater than we are. So I say thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, infinite Spirit, for all of these blessings and for those that are yet to come. I release this word into the law, knowing it is already done, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Everywhere I look and every face I see, His love reflected shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I had. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
All right. Thank you, the Bradfords. And thank you, moms, again. So now is the time to celebrate the abundance of our lives and the abundance of our community. So we have our donation boxes on the way to the dude's lunch, or in the back of the room, or also in the bookstore. So the two dudes. All right. Well, if you're going to be a dude, you got to show up in the kitchen. All right. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, you're a dude too, bud. we got a lot more in here than I thought. I'm not alone. Thank you.
Respect.
All right. So we appreciate all your donations, your tithes, and your gifts to support our community. So let's say our giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Sing that with me. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. I ain't thinking about my problems. I'm living now. I'm living now. And I ain't gonna worry about the future. I'm living now. I'm living now. So put your hands up if you feel like having a good time. Put your hands up if you're sharing love with all. Raise your cup if you're hopeful for tomorrow. Put your hands up if you're ready to have some fun. And sing along. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life, live. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. One more time. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Woo.
All right. Yes, it does feel good to be alive. So let's say our closing affirmation. Repeat after me. I am wrong. So I can be right. And so it is.